I think the big thing about hair and makeup as well is that you have to be personable. I think you're sort of the bridge between the talent or the model and the crew, because sometimes the crew is not as personable and they get somebody out on set and they are a little harsh or they don't know how to talk to them, and you have them in the makeup chair for an hour before they ever talk to anybody else. So you're there to warm them up and make sure they're comfortable and, you know, kind of watch their back when they're on set to be like, you doing okay? You hungry? You need some water? Because sometimes other people forget to notice that sort of thing, and you have already gotten to know them. And so I definitely think it's a huge part of the job is to chit chat with everybody. And sometimes you get hired not because you're necessarily the best at your job, but because you're easy to work with and fun to work with and personable. So I went to film school for makeup design, but I ended up doing more photo shoots and still photography because I find it for myself a little bit more enjoyable, because the product is sort of just to be like, let's make her look beautiful or let's make her look this one way. Whereas some people love the film part of it because that's more of a summer camp situation. You're in the same place with the same group of people for really long hours for a sort of short to extended amount of time, but then things will change. And I think people who tend to do that, it's just different. The hours are longer on film. You have to worry about continuity. You might come back to a scene in a film 6 weeks later, and so they're taking pictures of every angle of the face every day so that they can make sure the hair is going the same way 3 weeks later. Whereas what I do is very in the moment. You know, I can walk away and be fine with it looking different the next day. I think if people are comfortable with inconsistency or a lifestyle that will not always be the same, but there will be really great highs and some kind of flat lows, they're the type of people who can do this. People who like to travel, people who are independent and confident, because one of the scariest parts of this job is because you're working with new people all the time, you never have that coworker that you're like, sup, when you go into work. You're kind of like, have to reintroduce yourself and shake hands in the morning and say hello and be on your best behavior, because you only get hired off the last job you worked. And so I think that can be really scary, but if you don't mind that and you like meeting new people, it can be great. So I think it's not necessarily about the makeup, it's about who you find yourself to be, because not everybody's cut out for this. But if you are, I find it very rewarding. I love being 12, and to me, I think what I didn't realize, and I started to realize this later, some advice I would give myself at 12 is that things take time. I really wanted everything to happen overnight, and I still have struggles with that. Like, when I'm excited about something, I'll be like, you feel failure. You're like, why am I not there yet? Or, you know, why haven't I hit this goal that I thought I'd have? Whereas you really have to appreciate the things that you have done. 5 years ago, I thought, if I could only just work in this studio with this photographer, I would be set. And I did that 2 years ago, you know, and now I still don't sometimes feel good enough. And you have to recognize the goals that you have reached and also realize that things could take years. You know, when you look back on people that you admire, you're like, oh man, they were 30 by the time they did that, but they also started at 20. So that's 10 years. When I was 12, that seemed like an eternity. And now I'm like, oh, that's how long it takes sometimes. And also to never think that you can't do something just because of your age. Just because you're 30 or 25 doesn't mean an opportunity doesn't still lie in front of you.